What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Christian Hanna Horror here. So we've talked a great deal about non-franchise stuff in the past and standalone slasher films and this and that. I'm going to start a long series that I'm hoping will do well. This is just 5 horror sequels I really love, Volume 1. Now, the thing about this is this could be a never-ending thing because over the years, people have probably noticed I champion sequels a lot. I love horror movie sequels, mostly because sometimes they can offer more of the same, they can offer a different take, and there's options with sequels. And a lot of times I just enjoy what they try to do, and it's almost like their back is up against the wall with sequels, so I feel like, I've been the underdog before in life, so with sequels it's like, oh, well, how do we make a film that was a sequel to something that was beloved? So there's this weird dichotomy that I mentally give myself with sequels that makes me relate to them in a weird way. Without further ado, though, these are 5 horror movie sequels I absolutely love, and this is a love letter to say if you've watched the originals of these and you haven't gone to the sequels, keep going. So let's get started. Number 5 rather, is Maniac Cop 2. Man, oh man. Okay, Maniac Cop needs to be bigger. I mean, it's got fans, don't get me wrong, but Maniac Cop needs to be huge. It needs to be, Cavity Colors needs to be doing shirts all the time. The reason that Scream Factory didn't do these, I don't know, but Blue Underground killed it. They did a great job, but Scream Factory, really? You didn't want to do Maniac Cop? Maniac Cop, though, is great, and there are days where I'll pick Maniac Cop 1 is my favorite, and Maniac Cop 2 is my favorite. Right now, I'm Maniac Cop 2, but all 3 of them, I love them, but Maniac Cop 2 is great. It does what I love with sequels, bumps up the budget a little bit more, adds a little bit of new characters, keeps original characters from the first one, Bruce Campbell, and makes music for the movie. I always love when movies get their songs made just for that. The Maniac Cop 2 rap song, you can find it on Spotify, just type in Maniac Cop 2, is awesome. It's the most 90s thing I've ever heard, which I think this movie is from 1990. I think so. Maniac Cop 2 is amazing. I love it so. It's one of my favorite movies. I just want to watch it right now. So Maniac Cop 2 is number 5. I think this movie represents that you can still shock an audience till this day, even though this movie was made years ago. This movie is insane. And it's certainly the best in the franchise, if I have to be honest. Amityville II, The Possession, is one of the most bizarre, incredible, frightening, pseudo-sexual movies I've ever seen. And if you're like, whoa, that's a lot of weird stuff to say, if you haven't seen it, believe me, watch it. This movie just goes up against the grain, blows me away whenever I watch it. This movie is insane. Amityville 2 is just like, okay, the first one was this classic movie, this great movie that's going to live on for years and years. Let's go nuts. And they did. Amityville 2 delivers on a grand scale. Wow. All right, coming up next comes from this box set. Again, like I usually do with this series, I show you the Blu-ray that I have, and I try to tell you where I got these from. This was Scream Factory out of the triple pack set that they released. This is from the house set. Now, this is the UK set that you can still get, and don't worry, it is completely region-free if you buy this set. The movie I want to talk about is right here. House 3, The Horror Show. If you can also get this from Scream Factory, which is going out of print soon, so if you want it, get on it now. The Horror Show, if you like Shocker, you'll like The Horror Show. They're kind of the same movie. I just love The Horror Show a little bit more. While Shocker certainly has the better soundtrack, The Horror Show has the better cast, in my opinion. Lance friggin' Henriksen, one of my favorite actors. Whenever I see his name involved in a movie, I'm instantly attracted to having to see it. House 3, The Horror Show, is awesome. Now, I don't know why it was released as House 3 overseas. I believe the movie was just made as The Horror Show. I could be wrong, but overseas they decided to release this as House 3. And there it is. The Horror Show is awesome. I freaking love The Horror Show. Lance Henriksen, great movie, great slasher film. Please check it out. Like I said, if you like Shocker, you'll like The Horror Show. Coming up next comes from this box set, which is out of print, but don't worry, you can still get the movie. Yes, we're talking about Hellraiser. We're talking about Hellraiser 2. Now, I think that Hellraiser 2 is one of the greatest sequels ever made. This could get me in trouble. I think Hellraiser 2 blows Hellraiser 1 out of the water. And for the rest of the franchise, for that matter. I love 1, 2, 3, and I I can watch Hellraiser 4 and enjoy it. After that, it really is a chore for me. Hellraiser 2, I think, is one of the greatest sequels ever made. Hellraiser 2 takes what you would almost really think Hellraiser would be if you just saw the poster for the movie and then watched it. I'm not saying that Hellraiser 1 doesn't deliver that, but when I envision this character, I believe that it should be legitimate hell on Earth. And despite that's the name of Hellraiser 3, I think that Hellbound delivers that. It is insane. It still contains what I think is one of the nastiest scenes in horror movie history, where the body comes out of the mattress. Oh, God, it grosses me out. The storyline is, I don't want to say more convoluted, but there's more going on, but it's all so riveting. It's the darkest of the entire franchise, I think. It's the goriest of the entire franchise, and it doesn't care about your feelings. That's the best way to describe Hellraiser 2, Hellbound, or Hellbound, Hellraiser 2. If you are a fan of Hellraiser and you've never decided to just dive into Hellraiser 2, I highly urge you to do it. You won't regret it. Well, you might regret it because it's insane, but you won't regret it in the sense that you're going to say, oh my God, that movie was incredible. So Hellraiser 2 is my favorite Hellraiser film. It is just the king of all. I urge you to just go ahead and dive into Hellraiser 2. And last but certainly not least, now, of course, with the future, I'll try to spotlight more movies, especially sequels, that I haven't talked much about before. But with this being episode 1, I've got to bring this up. Now, I'm going to talk about a character we all know and love, Mr. Jason Voorhees. Everybody loves the Paramount tapes, mostly. Some don't like some, but everybody can respect and enjoy those to a certain level. It's high time Jason X gets more love and respect. It's coming. People are starting to embrace it. Jason X deserves to be watched by every horror fan at least once a year, especially every Friday the 13th fan. This movie doesn't lie to you. This movie doesn't pretend to be anything it's not except a silly, fun movie. Todd Farmer wrote it to be like Alien, but the circumstances around that time made it to be more comedic and silly. I just think that Jason X delivers on a slasher format amazingly. The kill where her face gets frozen and Jason smashes it onto the table will never stop blowing me away. Quite frankly, I think it's top 5 kills in the entire franchise. Jason X, I just think, delivers. I consider this the last classic Friday the 13th movie. Now, I know that Freddy vs. Jason came out a few years ago, but it still just feels modern. It just still feels, I don't know, I still feel like that movie was not that long ago, and obviously the remake is the newest one. I think this is the last classic-style Jason film. And because of that as well, I just think this movie needs more love and adoration. I'm not saying you need to put it high on your ranking. I'm not saying you need to say it's an amazingly made film. But if we buy Vinegar Syndrome movies and say they're great, we can't say that Jason X is bad. Okay, I said it. No, I'm just kidding. I would never, But what I'm getting at for real is, give this movie a shot. Enjoy it for what it is. Don't expect the new blood. Don't expect part 4. Jason X in space. Embrace it, pop your popcorn, get yourself a soda, or in my case, a Diet Pepsi, and have fun. So there it is, guys, episode 1 of 5 horror sequels that I love. Now, of course, you dropping comments below gives me ideas for what to put in part 2, and I'll try to start showing the people that give the recommendations that make it into part 2 as well, so we can become more inclusive with each other. But for now, this is Christian Hanna Horror saying, horror sequels, they're a thing of beauty.